Homing bracket!
What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is, of course, my review for the 2021 superhero movie, Spider-Man: No Way From Home. So No Way From Home is obviously the third entry in the Tom Holland trilogy. I don't know if he's going to be doing more movies after this. I'm assuming so. But this is the third entry. In terms of the other two, the first one I thought was okay. The second one I thought was okay, but I liked it a little bit better because I liked how Jake Gyllenhaal was actually a decent villain, and at the same time had a pretty cool mid-credit scene that really set the stage for this third entry. I'm not going to explain the plot of this entry of No Way From Home because I don't want anyone to be spoiled by this movie. Yeah, sure, I'm filming this on a Sunday, so like what, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, so 4 days after it came out technically, but I don't want anyone to be spoiled because, again, this is a movie that you want to go into it knowing as little as possible. All I knew going into it was the trailers and everything and all the, the speculation of like who may be in it or who may not be in it. But, nothing was confirmed. So I just kind of took it as, it's the internet, whatever. But I will say going into it, I got kind of curious because I did rewatch the Tobey Maguire series, and I did also rewatch the Andrew Garfield movies. And truth be told, the Tobey Maguire series I did grow up watching like as a young teenager, and the Andrew Garfield movies I did watch in theaters. So seeing those villains from both entries of those like particular universes in this movie kind of got me curious. I was like, I wonder if they're going to fix the issues with those villains from those entries. Because truth be told, I had issues with William Dafoe's Green Goblin, which I know is like sacrilegious to say, but I really did not like the costume design. Well, that's fixed in No Way Home. I didn't like Electro. I really didn't. I will say his costume design was a bit better, just a bit. So I liked that. And then also I thought that they did a decent job with Sandman in terms of like the look, which to be fair, the Sam Raimi's 2007 entry, I thought that was a good look too for Sandman, but I liked that. I liked that they kind of fixed and did a little bit of tweaks here and there in terms of the designs and everything of those characters. Especially in today's day and age, you can get away with it, for sure. The other thing that's worth mentioning is I really liked the characters. I thought that the characters had a really good dynamic in this movie. In particular, MJ and, of course, Peter Parker. They have such great chemistry together. When they're on screen, it really does feel very vibrant. And even Ned and Peter, I liked that. Doctor Strange and Peter also work really well together. And honestly, I feel like Doctor Strange is obviously a lot different from Iron Man, but I do like how they kind of are replacing Iron Man with Doctor Strange a bit in terms of like that chemistry that they have. So I liked that. And then also there are a couple other characters, no spoilers, but there are a couple other characters that I thought also worked pretty well off Peter. I thought that was especially the standout. One in particular I thought was excellent. Really, really good. Again, no spoilers, but I thought he was incredible. His introduction was incredible. His arc, amazing stuff, honestly. It was really good. And I do also like the arc of Spider-Man himself. I thought it was quite satisfying, especially with like the ending. The ending was truthfully something that when it happened, it didn't really kind of resonate with me, but then I started, driving home and everything, and I started thinking about it. I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, I actually thought that was, fitting. And, again, if there aren't any other Tom Holland entries, it was quite satisfying in that regards. And I also liked, again, as I mentioned earlier briefly, I liked the costume designs. I liked the looks of the costumes that they chose, and how some of them were kind of like retro versus other ones were trying to be all new and vibrant. So I liked that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that, how do I put this without spoiling anything? There are some interesting action scenes early on. I think that involving Goblin in particular was quite intense. And I also liked how with Goblin, not only with the fixing and everything, they realized that William Dafoe doesn't need a mask. If you've seen The Lighthouse, you know the man can be terrifying, just his looks alone. And that is the best compliment I can give Dafoe because he killed it. Really did a great job, honestly. I was very much so impressed with his role. But all this being said, I felt mixed about this movie. And I know I'm going to get boos and everything, and I know a lot of people are probably going to turn this review off now that I've said that. But, man, I hate saying it. I really do. I hate saying it. But, like, I did feel mixed about this movie. And I feel like a Scrooge because I know for a lot of people, this is like a Christmas gift sent from God, literally. It's like literally sent from God. It's gift wrapped in a bow. It's what people want. People want to see the nostalgia-fueled storytelling that this movie offers. They want to see the characters that come on screen. They want to see that banner, that comedy timing and everything. And for me, it just isn't enough. it's not enough for me personally. I am someone that is not that driven by nostalgia. I'm not. There's not much I watch in movies, so I'm like, I recognize that. I like it. But for a lot of people, they see something they recognize and they're going to clap and they're going to really, really enjoy it because they remember that. It brings them back to a time period where they really enjoyed something, and it warms them, and it warms them to the possibilities. And I can respect that. I'm not going to knock someone for enjoying that, because watching this movie, especially in the middle of a pandemic, it made me realize that this is the stuff people want to see. Yeah, we're in a pandemic, but let's be honest, half the population doesn't care that we're in a pandemic. I'm not that half. I do care that we're in a pandemic. I am a germaphobe, hands down. But seeing that this movie had basically a super spreader event and going to theaters for a year plus since obviously the pandemic's been happening, I've realized that people don't really go to the movies for original movies that much. They don't go to properties and everything that doesn't have that nostalgia based fueled with them. But if you have something with a lot of familiar characters and a lot of things that they want to see, they'll go. And for me, it's like a fine line of it's like, okay, I want the box office to do well so that way we can still get the theater experience, but it's becoming more and more apparent that the theater experience is going to be for big blockbusters. You're not going to have it where small movies like The Graduate or American Beauty, such as like that, will do really well because people aren't going to really want to see that. They want to see stuff like this. And I've accepted that. And that's also why I'm saying this, that I'm not angry that this movie is doing well. I'm just saddened and happy at the same time. I'm sad because of that's the reality, and I've come to terms with it. But I'm happy that a lot of people are happy. I'm happy that there was a lot of joy in the theater. Seeing that was just honestly very nice. But again, the fact of the matter is, this movie is just so tone deaf. The first couple minutes of this movie, it starts off with this narration. It really sets the tone. I'm like, yes, this is going to be good. This is going to be like Endgame. And then it dips off and it gets really, really heavy into the comedy. And the comedy just did not work for me. It's very light. It's very fluffy. Just did not feel organic. And then there's serious moments. And it just felt very whiplash in terms of the tone that they were going for. And I was like, okay, now I'm supposed to be all serious after you were just cracking all these jokes left and right. Like now, like it reminded me of honestly just like your typical comedy. A typical comedy has it where it's trying to be funny for 2/3 and then it gets serious in the third act. That's this movie in a nutshell. There's something that happens and then all of a sudden we're supposed to be all serious and everything, but then there's still jokes being cracked and then it's supposed to be serious again. And then the very ending, it's serious again. And I felt like it was inconsistent in that. And same with the pacing. The pacing halts majorly in that second act. Like majorly. Like I was entertained and engaged for the first act. I was kind of like looking past the tonal inconsistencies. But then the second act, that's when it really kind of resonated and really clicked that this movie is paced very poorly in my eyes. And then the third act, it does pick up a little bit more of steam. But for me personally, there's some stuff I did like, but it also turned into a CGI fest. And there's nothing wrong with that. This movie is littered with CGI, but it turns into a CGI porn fest, with all the action and everything. It's got that, set piece and it's everything. And it's like, everyone comes together and they have to fight the villains. It's like, and it's like, that's fine. But at this point in the superhero genre, you have to stand out. And I'm not going to lie, and I know I'm going to get even more hate for it if I'm already having. The third act reminded me a lot of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, except instead of blue electricity, we have a yellow electricity. Bro, why do I want to be reminded of Amazing Spider-Man 2 with an action set piece? The action in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was terrible. So I couldn't really tell what was going on in the third act, and I felt like a boomer watching it. I was like, this is just honestly hard to watch at this point. But what I will say is this. Those things aside, again, if you want nostalgia, if you want comedy, if you want to see Spider-Man on the big screen again, and you want to have your popcorn, you want to have your cake and eat it, so to speak, I think you'll enjoy this movie. I can respect that. I can. I'm happy that so many people are happy. I truly am. This is an event movie. This is a movie that is going to be bringing in a lot of money. It's going to be another chink in the chain, so to speak, for me personally of like the MCU and the flaws and everything. But if you already are on board with the formula of MCU, it follows that formula, but it also tags in a little bit of, fan service, which is fine. At this point, I've accepted that. That's fine. Nothing wrong per se with it, but there's a lot of fan service, a lot of nostalgia. And for me, that just kind of unfortunately takes in a lot of this actual storytelling, like the possibilities of it. Like it replaces it with that. Other thing is that for me personally, the filmmaking, I love the visual effects. Again, I love the characters and everything, but I really wasn't a fan of the cinematography. It was very dull looking, especially in that third act that I mentioned. The score also is very not memorable in the slightest. I mean, this movie honestly really kind of confirms what I've been saying about the MCU and how the scores just, they're not that memorable. You know, you have Black Panther and Endgame, but for that movie franchise, those movies that you have, you'll also have movies such as like this and the other two Spider-Man movies where the scores just are not memorable. And it really kind of hit home when you hear James Horner's score or Danny Elfman's score from the other Spider-Man movies, and you're like, man, those scores I can listen to on repeat. But this series, nah, you can't. For me personally, at least. But overall, Spider-Man No Way From Home, I can respect if you liked it. Again, I'm happy that Christmas came early for a lot of people. But for me personally, Spider-Man No Way From Home, I will be giving a 2.75 out of 5-star rating. So, yeah, no hot sauce rating. But, guys, I know, I'm heartbreaking too. But, guys, let me know your thoughts. Did you like it? Did you not? I would say at this point, you guys can talk spoilers briefly in the comment section, but try to put a spoiler warning for those that haven't seen it. If you guys have any questions about in particular plot points and everything, I'd be more than happy to discuss that down below. But guys, you guys are the best. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Hopefully subscription, notification bell, and I'll catch you guys later.